Angier to me has to be one of the most selfish characters I've ever seen in any film, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, he is a selfish bastard. Don't get me wrong, Borden has his shit, but Angier for sure takes the cake. But yeah, all this and more on the Real Anime Podcast. You're watching and listening to the Real Anime Podcast. As usual, Lewis and I are here today to talk to you about something truly magical. If you can see Lewis's background, you're going to see that beautiful poster of Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale, who look very similar to the two hosts before you now, myself and Lewis, of course. But don't worry, we let them take the spotlight for this one. So thank you all for being here. And today we're going to be talking about Christopher Nolan's film, The Prestige. Now, The Prestige follows two magicians. They basically go in a tete-a-tete sort of competition and trying to one-up each other with their magician tricks. And they're really just trying to go for what makes them the greatest magician in the world. But it comes at an extreme personal cost. And also it's a real great study on the way of chasing your goals, your creativity, and understanding why you pursue what you pursue. The two magicians are played by Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale. Now, Christian Bale's character is called Borden, and Hugh Jackman's character is called Angier. So these two magicians basically do their thing.
It's better than Magik Rompak, I'll tell you that for free.
Well, that's actually all we need to hear. Let's get straight into the first discussion.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
discussion. Angier and Borden, right? Do they actually love magic, or do you think they just want to like beat each other at who's the better magician?
I honestly felt that like in the first 0 to 30 minutes of the film itself, it's a bit where, you know, like these two guys, Robert Angier, and also Christian Bale's character, Alfred Borden, who has a very nice English accent, by the way, even though Christian Bale is actually Welsh, I remember correctly. And at the start they loved the magic, but I think the rivalry of them wanting to outdo each other kind of just like took the spotlight away from them actually wanting to achieve their dreams, and it's basically each of them trying to ruin each other's dreams, basically, is how I would like to put it, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, also there is that business of how Borden was involved in Angier's wife's death. So I think
Correct.
that's definitely one of those motivating factors. So for those of you who don't know, Angier's wife is actually a magician's assistant, and Angier and Borden at this time, they're not really the main magicians. They're sort of just helpers who sort of pretend to be strangers and go on the stage, and they basically just pretend to be these strangers who participate in magic tricks. And so Angier's wife is a magician's assistant, and she does this bit where she drowns in a tank and then escapes from the tank. And Borden, Christian Bale, is basically responsible for tying the knot around her hand, and Angier, Hugh Jackman, is responsible for tying the knots around her leg. And she has to get out of those knots, get out of the tank, and that's the magic trick, basically lah. And we see it work the first time. Then the second time, something pretty horrific happens, and I feel this is where Christopher Nolan, in my opinion, dipped a little bit into the world of horror. Like, he's been pretty open about the fact that he's wanted to make a horror film for a while. Like, the famous one is Inception, was originally a horror film, but then it became the movie we know today. But the moments where you see Angier's wife, I think she's played by Piper Perado, and she's like trapped in the tank, and it's quite horrific, really. I mean, you know, when you realize she can't escape, and then Michael Caine in the movie, who plays like the engineer who makes all these magicians' tricks and parts possible, you know, he's freaking out, and they're trying to break the cage open, and then it's a whole thing. And Angier basically feels that Borden is responsible for his wife's death, because Borden doesn't know whether he tied the knot properly or what knot did he tie. There was so many different things, and it all began because Borden and Angier were sort of arguing a little bit about their own knowledge about the magician's knot about tying ropes, and this ended up with Angier's wife dying. And so that sort of creates this inciting incident for these two magicians to sort of go down this sabotaging each other's path. And I feel like Lewis is totally right, because they go into it loving magic. You can tell they're passionate, they know what they want, but then it suddenly becomes like, oh, you know what? It's kind of, I want to get better trick than that guy, or I'm going to go and sabotage him, or I'm going to go and shoot his like hand off in a bullet catch, something like that or other. And the funny part for me is all Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale do is they put on beard and long hair. I'm just saying right now, if Lewis put on a beard and long hair, I would still be able to recognize him.
I mean,
But,
I can put on a disguise for you right now, actually.
Go. What's your disguise? And he's gone. Okay. Oh my God! What in the world?
What's happening?
So just after saying no Magik Rompak, we have the hidden Magik Rompak fella here.
The orange rompak.
It really does affect your voice too, huh?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's really what we feel about Borden and Angier. I do think though that there was a lot of discussion about non-linear storytelling, right? And there's so many different like opinions and facets and ideas around non-linear storytelling. But Lewis, how different would the Prestige be if it was just told in a linear timeline? You know what? I'm gonna go with my answer while you
Oh, done
Oh my
already.
God, Lewis, you're back. There was some strange fella here just now. There was the whole thing. Basically Batman right there. Anyway,
One of Christopher Nolan's films.
Oh, damn. But like, okay, wait. Just on our question, right? If we took away the non-linear storytelling and we just went into linear storytelling, right? The first thing I feel that would happen to the Prestige is this film will be 5 hours. Just the film is roughly 2 hours plus. I'm something like that.
Yeah, 2 hours plus. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guarantee you that instantly that timeline doubles because the whole idea of non-linear storytelling is layering. You're building on top of another layer of time. So, wow, I felt like that's super Christopher Nolan thing to say. Anyway, it's like if you started unfurling those layers and just making a straight road, that road becomes incredibly long, And it's like after a while, I also think you would lose the cinematic quality, or the escalation and the pacing of the Prestige. I feel like it would become just your everyday movie. It would just feel like, I don't know if I would care enough to do a podcast about it. But because it's told in this non-linear way that makes it feel so exciting, so immersive, and so really like you're in that journey with Angier and Borden, I really feel like that's what makes this movie what it is, the non-linear storytelling. But yeah, Lewis, if this film was told in a linear storytelling way, what do you think it'll be?
I mean, you know what non-linear is perfect for? The Malaysia road system, I tell you. The one fine day.
What?
One fine day, the pothole is fixed. After that, the pothole is back. The road is clear. Now the pothole returns again. That's non-linear for you.
Potholes are a demon everywhere we go. So yes.
Okay, but to answer the question seriously, okay. So within the first 10 minutes itself, you have the scene where you have Christian Bale's character, Borden himself, in the prison itself, where he's trying to talk to this. I forgot the fella's name is Lord something. I remember it's Lord C something. I think his name, and then he was in prison because obviously if you watch the story itself, you know the reason why he's in prison. So obviously, like when that sort of thing were to play out in a way, obviously, I mean, if it was told in the linear way, it kind of will take away from the drama itself, in my opinion. Now, the reason being because like I'm gonna use the scene which I just said for example, which takes place at about minute 5, minute 6 of the film itself, where it's basically you see Borden in prison. He's offered a lifeline to get out of prison on the condition that his daughter is okay, something like that. Now take a moment to think about that. If it's told in a linear way, it will literally take you like maybe let's just say about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Let's just say if granted that the duration was the same, it will kind of take away like key moments of the film itself away. Not to say it's like it will feel like dry in a way whilst watching it if it's linear, but at the same time, the film, the way the film was written, is perfect for a non-linear story. Because why? When it's non-linear, you'll be able to like point the dots. However, if it's written in a linear way, I feel that it's just like it will just be one straight line, and it kind of would like take away from like the thriller element of the film itself. Do you agree with that with me, Mohnish? I would say that like
I mean it would get a little boring.
It will get boring. It will get a bit boring in a way because like one of the things I like about Sir Christopher Nolan, I remember he is a Sir now. His films, right? Let's take Oppenheimer for example. Within the first 5 minutes of Oppenheimer itself, I really want to be a scientist already. Actually, nah, just kidding. In my dreams, but I mean, like in the first 5 minutes, that's a good film example of how, like, within the first 5 minutes itself, you are able to capture the audience minds through a non-linear telling storyline, which I guess in a way that's the reason why non-linear sometimes can work better compared to linear, because linear is basically A to Z. Non-linear is basically from like maybe Z to C to X. Like I said, It's probably like it's like listening to progressive metal. What do you think, Monish?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, like that's definitely the case. I mean, that's what really makes the non-linear timeline work so well, and that makes me wonder. I mean, there's so many great characters in this film, and just to put it out here, this film came out in 2006, so we will be spoiling it. I'm like, shit happened 2006. It's been 20 years. As far as I'm concerned, there's more than enough license to spoil it. So what happens basically is Christian Bale's character Borden has a twin brother, and Robert Angier is actually an alias for Hugh Jackman's character, who is actually called Lord Caldwell. And he's basically like a rich guy who wants to be a magician, which then explains all of their approaches, and it's so interesting because you can apply this to filmmakers, you can apply this to artists, you can apply this to musicians. And I look at it this way. This is my perspective on it anyway. Robert Angier, or Lord Caldwell, whichever you want to call him, Hugh Jackman lah, basically. He goes with the fanciest gadgets for the time. He has an engineer working for him. He literally pays Nikola Tesla to invent a cloning machine for him so that he can recreate a very famous magic trick by Alfred Borden, Christian Bale's character, called the Transported Man.
Transport something, the transporter, if I'm not mistaken, the name of it.
The Transported Man, yes.
Yeah, something.
And but yeah, no, it is the Transported Man, not the Transporter. Okay. The Transporter is Jason Statham. So basically, when I'm looking at that, he's got all the fancy gadgets, he's got all these equipment, he's got all the money. Well, he's got a ton of money, and he basically has a double identity, if you will. And then you look at Alfred Borden. He is actually the better magician of the two of them. And I say this because, number one, it's made plain from the opening moments. He knows more about tying knots than Robert Angier does, which is why they have this argument about the knot tying. And Christian Bale's character has a twin brother who helps him do the same thing that the Transported Man, that Robert Angier needs an entire clothing machine to do. He does it with his twin brother. As they walk in and out of doors catching a ball, all it is his twin and him, and he uses a body double. And Michael Caine's character Cutter actually says, when Hugh Jackman is like really upset, he's like, "Oh, how does he do this trick? How does he do this trick?" He's using a body double. He's using a body double. They're literally feeding you the clue to the twist from that early on, and then all of a sudden, it makes sense when you get the reveal at the very end. Oh, he has a twin brother. Then you rewind and you look back. Oh, shoot, yeah, he was talking about a body double, and Cutter is a super experienced guy. He knows what he's talking about. He makes all these magicians look good with his equipment. Of course, he knows what he's talking about. So Christian Bale's character is actually the true magician because he's not using any fancy equipment. He's actually using his own creativity, his own art, understanding the art form. And it's literally the same thing with filmmakers. You've got filmmakers that have all the most expensive equipment, know how to use all those equipments and all these kind of things, and have a ton of money behind them, but still make slop. And then you have filmmakers who don't really have those resources, but still are able to produce really good work. So it's literally that analogy and the subtext between those two worlds that you understand literally the weight of true character building from Nolan. But like Lewis, like the point is, I was like, did this movie make you side with one character more, or did you just hate both characters? Because obviously we did say you did say at the beginning that Angier is more selfish. So let's go with what do you think?
You know, this is a perfect film, which you remind me of our episode which we did last week, if I'm not mistaken, which was I Saw the Devil. Remember the episode that we did, I Saw the Devil? It really reminded me of like the two characters from that film itself, right? It almost reminded me of like the procedure itself between Jackman's character and Bale's character, right? Not Gareth Bale, Christian Bale. So like, it's quite tough to say which one would you side with more, right? Or do we hate them equally? Both. It's a bit tough to say, but I'll lean slightly towards, I would say, Angier himself. I would say. I mean, I don't. Okay, but as a disclaimer, I don't condone what like some of the
So
things
so
that
you wait, you side with Angier more, is it?
like. Okay. Sorry, I side with. I will side with Christian Bale's character itself because as
Ah,
Borden himself. Sorry, I said the wrong thing. I side with him more. Okay, reason why I side with him more because like okay, I don't agree with some of the things that Christopher Bale's character does. Right, I don't agree with what Borden does.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale, sorry, Christian Bale, sorry, Christian. Oh, almost said my
No, but
god.
I do agree. I feel like, those two characters really have quite a interesting juxtaposition between them. Like they both do kind of horrible things, but Christian Bale's character has this small, like, this sense of honor. He's, whatever you want to say, he is honest about it. And another thing you can say is he really loves being a magician. He really loves the artistry of magic. His twin brother, whose hand was whole, had to cut off his own two fingers just so he would be able to match his other brother so that nobody could tell the difference. Can you imagine the kind of dedication it would take to hide a twin brother from someone? Can you imagine that kind of dedication to your art, to the thing that you're passionate about? And also, this is really like one of those things, which is why I feel I also side with Borden. It's like, man, like he had such an, like, whatever Angier bought, Borden invented. You know what I mean? Everything Angier spent money on, Borden was able to do without that.
That's true. You're right. And also to add on to that, he was the one who like wrote all of his notes like like a literal notebook itself. And basically you have a brother over here, Hugh Jackman over here, just like wanting to like steal all of his notes because why he doesn't want to take the effort into like becoming what Borden is as a magician or maybe as a human, for example. And then you have Angie over here willing to go, like, he doesn't care whether his pride is ruined, integrity is ruined. I think integrity, let's be honest, is already out the window already. He doesn't care about all of that. He just wants to be the best at no matter what the cost is,
He's
you
literally
know?
using daddy's money.
That is a very good example of using like daddy's money. And if he doesn't get it at his way, he will resort to like things that, which are not nice to see, basically.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, Borden's no angel either. I just feel like the reason Borden is doing what he's doing is that I will say Angier did kind of start it, you know what I mean? He did shoot his hand off, well, his fingers off. And of course you get that it was in retaliation for Borden not knowing whether he tied the knot and being responsible for his wife's death, yada yada yada. But it did start a huge cycle.
Yep, you're right.
But I think, yeah, but I think also like a really cool point of view is like the notebook moment that Lewis was talking about is that Borden saw so far ahead that even the notebook at the very end, he says, Angier, you lose. Which means he literally thought that far ahead and wrote that down just so that Angier would spend all this time reading, thinking he has all his secrets. And next thing you know, boom, you have nothing.
Yep, I
And
agree. That was
the
smart.
funniest part is when Angier captures Fallow, who was the disguise of Borden's twin brother, and buries him underground. The ironic part is Angier had taken away Borden's superpower by burying the one person who basically was his superpower. And then Borden gives him a fake note, well, a real notebook with literally no secrets, and frees his brother, and ta-da, they're off in their own world. And that's actually a really cool thing because it's really showing you like the real sort of devotion to a a creative art form, when you are not just a magician. A magician is who you are. You know what I mean? That is the difference. That's the reason why Borden had so many family problems with his wife and his child. Because, yes, he and his brother were sharing one life. That does make things difficult. But he was never unfaithful to his wife. Even though you see he has a mistress with Scarlett Johansson, his brother was actually with Scarlett Johansson while he was with his wife. The only time that his wife and him were arguing was when his brother was forced to pretend like he was him, and whenever he said "I love you," Rebecca Hall, who plays Borden's wife, said "not today," because she can see it in his eyes. She can actually see the fact that he doesn't actually love her. Because why? That is not her husband. That's literally his brother.
I know.
So why, so there's that moment. But it shows how far you have to go to be truly great. You know what I mean? In Borden's case, anyway, and in most people's case, like even David Bowie also is literally another great inspiration, because he did not exactly have the greatest personal life, but you can't deny what he's done for the world. And you can look at Borden's example. He had to sacrifice time with his family. He had to sacrifice time with the woman he loves. He had to sacrifice his fingers. He had to sacrifice his brother. He had to do all of these things just so he could be the best magician there was. And the moment you know that, hey, that kind of sacrifice is really what makes you great, how many people would actually take that and actually do that? When you know all you need to do is give up half the things you love just to be great, would you actually do that? I think that's really at the core of Borden's questions, at Borden's character, because that really makes the film what it is. A great example would be the Chinese man, Chan Ling Su, where he's actually a really strong guy, but he's pretending to be old and frail. And he does that every single time he goes out in public. And that magician is actually based off a real life magician who was actually born in America, but pretended he was from China because he was more exotic. And he never said a single English word in over 30 or 40 years in public until the day he died trying to do a bullet catch. When they shot him, the first English words he uttered was something like, "What happened?" Those were the first English words he said in public for like 30, 40 years. Can you imagine never saying an English word in your life? He's, So I feel like, so Luis, what do you think about the sacrifice that goes into being the best at what you do?
I mean, no matter if you're like in the case of, like as we see here with Borden's character itself, you do have to sacrifice a lot to be the best. Let's be honest. Like if you take like real life examples, like maybe let's take famous footballers we all know, Muhammad Safi Saleh, and I mean, how he's the best, of course. But like let's take someone like Lionel Messi, for example. For him to be able to like win like how many Ballon d'Ors, 5, 6 Ballon d'Ors, he had to like sacrifice a lot. He had to leave Argentina, his native land of Argentina, to play in Spain, and then look how his career turned out. So, I mean, to be the best, you got to make choices which kind of makes you like uncomfortable. You got to do some things that
And the people around you.
yeah, and the people around you, like especially if it's like someone like your loved one, for example, it's not only you who's part of like your dream. It's also like people around you who's also wanting, who's like like basically it's just like a team effort in a way for you to be able to reach like the
It is
the
a
promised
it is
land.
a team effort, but then like you said, I think like being great, you can't just sacrifice a lot. You have to sacrifice everything.
Almost everything in a way. I agree.
Like in Borden's case, it was everything, not almost. It was everything. He sacrificed his wife. He sacrificed everybody else. His own brother as well. Not because he's a bad person, but his brother chose to sacrifice himself because he knew Borden needed to raise his daughter.
Oh yeah, I mean, this film itself, when you watch like how these characters like have to sacrifice like almost everything, in a way, it just shows like sometimes like that you could it shows like the integrity of the character, you know, sometimes in a way. Sometimes some of the decisions that they make also, yes, we will question like why did he make this decision, but at the end of the day we're not in his shoes. We don't know what happens in his brain, in his shoes, or anything in general, because at the end of the day we could question him all we want, but at the end of the day we don't know what's going on in his mind. Let's be honest about that.
Well, yeah. I mean, he had a literal. They literally read his diary throughout the film, so I think we did know what was going on
Oh
in his
yeah,
mind.
that's
We
one.
literally knew
Yeah,
exactly word for word what was going on in
yeah,
his
yeah.
mind.
That's true. Yeah,
But
sorry.
but yeah, like I think one of the main messages this film has is that to be the best, you have to sacrifice everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. There's no middle ground between that. You like work life balance flies out the window. There is no chance.
No such thing
Like
as work life
especially
balance.
yeah, no, for sure. If that's what you want to pursue, like as much as I would love to have work life balance, I know it's just not possible if I want to be truly, someone that pursues this kind of career. And I see that in this film everywhere. Like even in Angier, to be fair. Yeah, okay, he's some spoiled rich guy spending money, but you gotta admit the lengths he goes to, right? Even that is insane. He literally invented a cloning. Well, he pushed the invention of a cloning device. If it wasn't for him going to Tesla, going hello, 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 Tesla would probably never have made it. So yeah, and that's the power of obsession. That's the power that you can achieve if you sacrifice that kind of thing. And I feel like as much as we all want to be great, not everybody can make that sacrifice. Like not everybody has that strength to make that kind of sacrifice. you know and I feel like that's just the moral behind this kind of story, where you need to be strong enough to make the sacrifice, otherwise you can kiss whatever plans you have to be great goodbye. Yeah, like Luis, what do you think about that?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, sacrifices itself, like
Do you need to be strong enough to make that sacrifice?
if you're not strong enough, you're not even willing to take the next step. You have to
Yeah,
be strong mentally and physically for you to be able to like go through the tough times before you can
and
experience
also
the good
to
times.
make tough decisions, like though, like even ones that on the surface feel like bad decisions, you have to make them sometimes.
Yeah, it's normal. I mean, sometimes you can't please everyone in this world, and sometimes you have to kind of like, in a way, kind of like think of yourself first for like, okay, maybe the short term it might not look nice, but you already know like it's ready like a, let's just say, like return on investment, like a ROI in a way.
Well, I suppose so. Yeah, I mean, like you can even see in a lot of real life cases. I feel like that's why the rate of divorce is so high amongst all the high achievers, because ultimately a relationship cannot stand this kind of sacrifice.
You're right.
If the
You're
other
right.
if the other person is not able to be on the same level, it's so difficult. Like as you can see in Borden's case, his wife literally hung herself.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's literally the point. That is the sacrifice. It wasn't that he went to jail. That his wife's life was the sacrifice. And I would argue his wife doing that made him the great magician he is.
Wow. Ooh.
That is the difference. The sacrifice is not him, it's everybody else. That is the real sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Without
You
his wife, I think, because the thing is, if his wife was still alive, and obviously in the context of the story, I would prefer his wife to be alive, for the daughter. I honestly think she should have just divorced him, in my opinion. At least then, she can be happy, raise the daughter. At least that sort of feels better. But I feel for the film's sake, you needed something to really escalate Borden's story to a whole different level. And like the thing I noticed straight after in the film, after she kills herself, which is very, very unfortunate, Borden becomes an even better magician. He becomes the best magician, because even though Angier invents a cloning machine, he still can't beat Borden.
Yep. I mean, Borden is a perfect example of how you work smart, not hard.
Well, yeah, don't get me wrong. He did work very hard
Oh
too,
yeah, yeah,
considering his poor brother as well. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, he literally it took the life of his brother and his wife just to make him that magician.
That's why you call 4D chess right there.
Well, I mean, I would prefer both of them to be alive, but
Yeah,
sure.
of course. But I mean, for the
Like
film's sakes,
in a
yeah.
perfect world, I would just prefer them to be alive. But obviously, even unfortunately, this is a very real occurrence. It's not just something that's done in a film. These things happen, Like that's I think one of the reasons you look at like Cristiano Ronaldo, and even he also is not exactly married and settled down, is he? Like okay, he's got kids, but he's literally had so many kids with his girlfriend and then only probably engaged and married her, and even that also you don't know the mother of his first child, and there's so many different things with his life that is just not normal. It's not an everyday sort of phenomenon. And whatever you want to say about him as a footballer, he is the greatest athlete in the world.
I think
Like
he's.
no one can play on his
Oh
level
no,
even
no.
now.
He's. I think if you could correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's the highest paid athlete in the world. I think he's already a billionaire. I think Ronaldo already is a
Oh no,
billion.
for he probably crossed the 1 billion a while back.
I
I
think
think
like
only just
couple
now.
year, like
I,
couple
I
years back.
think
I
only
think.
now his net worth is probably catching up. But I feel financially he would have crossed that long time
Oh
ago.
yeah, yeah. I think the
Yeah,
second.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it's like I think you have Mbappe there also. Yeah. Well, there you go. The list is well. Yeah.
yeah. I
So,
mean, that's kind of why, and I feel like that's one of those things where you're like looking at it, and it's such an unfortunate um point of view, and it's like, but it's also true though. It's it's like it's such a it's such a sacrifice that people think, oh, I have to work hard. Yeah, you got to work hard to sacrifice for sure, but the thing about the sacrifice is sometimes that sacrifice is not yours.
I get what I mean. It's just like sometimes when you want to work towards a goal or something, sometimes like another sacrifice, like from like a yeah, like your loved one or something, for example, has to pave the way for you to be able to achieve your goal. For example.
I mean, it's a unfortunate choice lah, but it is the choice to make, because it is, if you really want to unfortunately go to that next level, you got to let go, which hurts. I'll be honest. It's not exactly the easiest choice to make.
Mm-mm.
And the interesting juxtaposition between these characters, Angier kept adding, you know, more machines, more technology,
More of
more
everything.
every,
Yeah.
and Angier was and Borden was the complete opposite. He lost his wife, he lost his brother. He was also partially, possibly responsible for the loss of Angier's wife, who was clearly a friend with him. He lost the support of his mentor, John Cutter, who was played by Michael Caine. And he's probably lost his daughter as well, because I don't think she's going to be looking at him the same way anymore.
Mm-mm.
And here's the haunting fact at the very end. You know how Borden gets killed with the
Yep. The
with the
hanging
hanging.
rope,
Yeah,
right?
so basically he goes to prison and gets hanged, right?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
But then we know that's not Borden, that's actually Borden's twin brother. And Borden, who is the real father of the girl, is actually Fallow, right? Who's with the girl, the disguised version of.
Yes. Yes.
The thing that's scary to me that I'm thinking about only now is, what if Borden can never ever show his real face to his daughter? Because he died, right? He Borden is dead. His daughter saw his daughter knows he's dead. And so he's going to forever sit next to his daughter's side as her legal guardian. And he knows he's her father, but to her, she's lost her father forever. And he's right there. And he's never going to show her his real face. Because after everything he's been through, I don't think he's going to show her his real face. He could definitely keep up that illusion. So that is a really haunting fact. And if he's able to successfully hide his identity from someone who he's responsible for, like his daughter, someone who he will see for the rest of his life, that makes him the greatest magician who ever lived. So, in that context, every single one of those sacrifices, no matter how horrible, just made him the greatest magician in the world of all time. There's nobody who's ever held that kind of illusion, right? So now what do we do?
I'm sorry. I'm just mind blown by what you say for the past few minutes. I'm sorry if I'm a bit too quiet. I was just like trying to braining. I'm like,
Yeah, no, I just realized this myself as I was talking.
I was just like thinking like, yeah,
Because there's no scene after that
no,
he
no,
fixes.
no. Maybe Prestige. If there was a Prestige too, maybe that could be the story you just written right there, right after saying. But I mean, like, you are right. It's the greatest magicians of all time. Is not being able to pull out the rabbits out of the hat. It's basically Borden right here. He's doing magic in front of our eyes without us even realizing. That shows like the detail to the script writing that what a non-linear story can really bring to to like help like with like all these like sort of theories itself. That's one of the reasons why.
But that theory, now that I think about it, makes a ton of sense.
I'm thinking about it already, and
I'm just like, hold on a minute.
I'm still trying to brain. I'm braining about it. I'm just like, I think this is like, a script writer new coming out already.
I to be honest just popped into my mind. I realized there was no actual scene after that point, so I was like, so wait a minute. Like, to be fair, now that the nature of sacrifice is really central to what the Prestige really brings, right? Yeah. But we're moving on to an interesting point now, Lewis. You're going to love this point.
Okay.
Do you know? I mean, obviously you do know. Malaysia also got magicians.
Who's the magician? Which one?
It's called Magik Rompak.
So,
for our lovely English-speaking guest, Magik Rompak. Lewis, can you translate what Magik Rompak means?
Robbing magic or something like that. It's literally the literal. It's a literal translation.
Yeah, the literal translation is magic and robbing.
I mean, let's actually get the proper translation there. Okay, robbery magic.
Basically, yeah. I mean, we honestly, either way, the point is, this is a now you see me rip off. No offense to whoever's made it. I know Adrian Tay made it, and he's an amazing director for Malaysia. The only thing is, it really feels super close to too close, if you will, to Now You See Me. And I think, hey, look, I could tell you all day about what I think about this, and I'm sure Lewis could too. But I think what we should do is, Lewis, I'm gonna send. I just sent you over some Letterboxd reviews. Okay.
Okay.
Now, I would like you to read them. And basically, I'll pop them up here on our video in post. But please start with the first one. So these two reviews are from on Letterboxd, and basically these are for the movie Magik Rompak. So Lewis, please start reading the first two reviews.
All right. So I got it on my phone here. So we have a comment from 24th January 2026. The first comment is, even when watching this as a background movie, this was still an awful watch. This is basically Malaysians Now You See Me, but with terrible plot, terrible writing, terrible magic tricks.
Magic in apostrophes.
Yeah, magic. I think we witness magic in real life sometimes.
Oh yes. And what is the next one?
Okay, the next one is, ew. What were in their minds making this film? It's horrific and, what's this say? Crime gay or something like that. I don't know. I think it's cringe. I think it's typo. It's probably cringe. It's probably the fellow wanted to say cringy or something.
Yeah, I think it's a typo. It's
right. I've never heard of that word before, so I think it's just a typo. Not to mention the literal plagiarism of my favorite movie franchise, Now You See Me. Please, Nadia Nasa is not a Malaysian. I'm sorry.
You can actually tell that the person writing this had a lot of emotions.
I think the emotions are majuda. Okay, Malaysian version of Dave Franco, and the obvious attempt of turning Amelia Henderson as Malaysia's Isla Fisher Isla Pula, sorry. Isla Fisher or Lizzie Kaplan. Ugh, please. I see the attempt. Try harder. Well, you should try harder with the English next time with the typos.
Okay, now Luis, go to the last photograph of the um of the reviews. The very last one. You should see 3 short reviews there.
Okay,
So
so
can you
it's
just read?
from.
This is also still from Magic Rompak.
Okay, so this is okay. I always give Malaysian movies a chance, but this was super disappointing. Not even that entertaining, which was the least expected with the casting. It's okay though. More movies to come. Well, I guess sometimes we can dream a lot, but sometimes.
I have to say, Malaysians are nothing if not optimistic.
I mean, we are very optimistic that Malaysia will qualify for the Asia Cup or the World Cup, but look what happened after that.
But I still think Malaysia is going to win the World Cup. I mean, I don't know what you.
You heard that first, guys, on the Real Anime Podcast. Malaysia is going to win the World Cup now, so it's not coming home.
Thursday, that's what's up.
So I might be half English, but if Malaysia win the World Cup, I'll support Malaysia 100%. Okay, never.
Okay, Adi, just read the last. Just read the last review instead. Okay, just the last.
Okay, I'm not gonna read the second review. That one is okay. If I have to be blatantly honest, this is ASS. I'll let you guys. I'll let you guys say it lah. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
This is ASS.
Okay. Now I'm going to read some of the reviews for the Prestige. So this will be on the second photograph, Lewis.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know so you can read it. I'll be reading it out here. So it says, "Wow, that was peak. I loved nearly everything about it. Just one minor thing I didn't like." So it's still 5 stars. Performances were insane. Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman just totally went off. They were amazing to watch. They complemented each other so well and had crazy chemistry. The directing was pretty cool too. There were some cool shots I loved and how some of the magic scenes are filmed. What really makes this 5 stars though is the plot. I'm obviously a sucker for Nolan, but this was just so well done. There were so many twists and turns. It was actually insane to watch. It hooked me from the very first minute. It's such a good story about obsession and the dissent it can cause. Seeing them constantly one up each other was crazy. Somehow it just got better and better. The plot twist at the end though really caught me so off guard, but makes so much sense. I'm sure on a rewatch it'll be even better. So that is for the Prestige as of May 2026. So that's nice. Now, Lewis, just 2 short reviews on the 4th picture that you can read for the Prestige.
Okay, let's have a read. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4th picture. I think one only.
Yeah, there should be 2 reviews there.
On the Prestige. Okay, got it. 1,
Yep.
2. Okay, so it's one from 21st of May 2026.
Oh yeah, both are from 21st May 2026.
All right. Found out this movie is just yesterday. It might already be a top 3 Christopher Nolan movie for me. Better late than never, I must say. Wow. I mean, it's good he found
just 20 years lah.
20 years, but never mind. It's okay. Wow. I just wish it hadn't taken me this long in life to say, well, nevertheless, to Corey Lynch over here. Yes, Corey Lynch. It's better late than never. So we at the Real Anime Podcast, if it's a good film, it's a good film. But don't watch Magic Rompak. Now, the next question is from Penalty Kick Diaz. Penalty Kick is PK Diaz, sorry. On Letterboxd.
You know what the funny part is, right? What if his favorite player is Ruben Diaz and PK actually stands for penalty kick?
Penalty Kick Diaz. That's what.
Okay, well, it's PK Diaz. Just if you're listening, that's who it is.
Okay. All right. So let's get into it. Absolute cinema. The best plot I've ever watched on my entire life. Shivers down my spine with the ending. Well, they caught us in the first half. Not gonna lie. There we have it.
Those are the reviews for the Prestige. And now keep in mind, these are other people's opinions. They have put them out on Letterboxd, and we also have our own Letterboxd reviews, which Lewis has on his Letterboxd and I have on mine. Links will be in the bio of every episode, so please do go and check those out. And now I'm gonna read one last review of Magik Rompak just because it happens to be here. It's a bit of a long one, and I'm gonna stick it up on the screen later on when you guys see this. So this, please excuse me, this is gonna be a doozy. So, very Mura cheap version of Now You See Me. So Mura means cheap. I don't know why he decided to translate in real time, but okay.
Murachi.
Of Now You See Me, and the Rantai Kusuma shit is basically from Ocean 8. So they're referring to some of the thieving and the basically like being robbers and stuff, and that's just kind of the motif they're looking at. So it goes, and this person, SFE AALSYA, because I don't know how to say that.
It's SFE Aisha. Sound effects Aisha.
Right. Sound effects Aisha. There you go. 14th January 2026. This person is super organized. I will say you are a really organized person, whoever you are. I hope you see this, to be honest with you, because your review is super organized. They have it in point form.
Wow.
Okay, so first of all, WTF? What the food?
What the food is.
Number two, the longer you watch this, the more corny it becomes, and I have to force in all caps myself to finish it. That's how bad this movie is. Honestly, if you watch this at a movie theater, you're basically getting daylight robbed, because I would not pay shit to watch this mess. Holy shit. Okay. Number three. Okay lah. I thought Malaysia not try copy NYSM. Now You See Me, and Ocean 8 with a hint of their own identity But girl, this is not it. Number four. They're just milking Rantai Kusuma shit once again, and I hate the AI video on the background. Oh, that I did not know.
Oh yeah.
Well, that is a new piece of information for me. And they have the audacity to play that she twice. And then the Tan Sri poster is so bad, like, Ko bagi siapa buat ni?
In translation, who you gave to do this, basically, more or less.
Thank you for the translation. I was just so busy reading.
It's okay.
Number 5.
Oh my god.
In all caps. I don't intend to shout, but in all caps. Cringiest script / dialogue award goes to them, cause ya Allah apa ni Bushwoods. So it's a bunch of like letters being squashed together. Like maybe she sat down on her keyboard, like I don't know.
Oh anyway, no, it's probably Lily who did that.
There you go, his dog. And I can see that they tried to make Ujang's character be goofy, but please, the way he delivers the role is not giving. It's just straight up annoying, and it makes me make faces every time he talks, in all caps. Don't make me start on the fight scene. Full stop. Number 6, lastly, in all caps, all those heists and this and that over the long lost girlfriend, like ini apa sinetron ke? And honestly, you can tell because it's damn predictable. Like, yeah, I mean, to be fair, Malaysian cinema does, it is about one of the most predictable pieces of cinema you can find. So I don't mean that as a bad thing. Sometimes it works for like maybe if you want to feel good or something, but to be honest, most of the time it's just it just does not help
it's just
anybody.
It's just like the pot holes lah.
Yeah. Maybe this movie akan nampak will look gempak for those who have never watched Now You See Me and Ocean's 8. Okay, to be fair, if you've never seen Now You See Me and Ocean's 8, this could feel like a funny little film that you'd like to stream. I still don't believe it will be something worth watching in a cinema, in my opinion, but that's just what it is. And support local, they said. And then she goes in all caps, "But I tried!" with the crying man emoji. You see, here's the thing, right? I feel like the support local label is an important thing. It's good, and I hope that you support your local film industry, always. I just wish your local film industry would return that support by prioritizing quality over rehashed ideas. Because the problem is we get Hollywood here. If I never saw all of these films growing up, or if I never saw all of these films in the cinema or streaming or whatever, I would probably be okay with your movie. I would give it 2.5 stars, even then. But looking at it now, I can see why her review is half star. And she gave a point by point, you can't argue with this. She's fully going on about it. and you can tell if we had a conversation, that would be a podcast in and of itself.
We
So
should invite her
to be
to the podcast to talk about this.
honestly, SFX Aisha, if you're listening, please be our guest. Reply to either one of us on Letterboxd, or find us on Instagram at the Film Major or Lewis Talking Film, and hit us up. We will definitely make space. um, but yeah, that is basically, this is a new segment we're trying out, which is really to reach out with our Letterboxd fandom, and I think it's cool. A lot of people have some great opinions here, so honestly, this has been a great segment. Lewis, to end off, what do you think about what the people think on Letterboxd?
I mean, sound effects earlier, that person I really had. Sorry, her name is actually not sound effects. It's actually spelled SFE. Oh, sorry, Alia pula. Aisha, sorry. I mean, it's very interesting to, like, kind of hear from outside, like a film film critic, outside of a film critic person. It's just nice to hear, like, a person from, like, the general audience. Granted, maybe some
Super honest too.
like super honest. Granted, like, maybe some of the typos could be better bit, but then again, I make typos, so it's fine.
This one, they're writing guna feeling.
Ni ada ni masih ada feeling tau. You kena faham. Bahasa salah, sorry. Bukan ni cak. Another bahasa. Sorry. So no, back to what I was saying. No, like, it really, you can really feel like the feeling. I'm feeling the feeling off of it already from my phone, man. My power bank is already gone empty after the feeling, reading the feeling itself. Especially from sound effects. Aisha, that yeah. That
To be
one
honest,
is
sound effects, Aisha, you should get into the review game. Just perhaps, I love the way you numbered your review. Your review is very comprehensive. Even I'm learning something from your review, and I'm going, yep, maybe I might do that one fine day. But yeah, Lewis, just final thoughts on the Prestige. Why is it good, and why should people watch it?
all right. First things first. If you guys want to watch it, want to watch something like with a bit of thriller, a bit of mystery, this film would be up your alley. Now, if you like want to be like a bit of like a Detective Conan, a bit of a throwback from there, like, like, be able to, like, solve the mystery, solve the riddle itself on how, like, each point has, like, to, like, relate to each other, this film will probably be up your alley. Now, granted that maybe the first time when you watch it, you're going to be a bit pening kepala, like how I was watching Magik Rompak, just thinking, like, how is this even possible when you see me, now you don't. Magik Rompak has already taken my heart away, and I don't know what to do with it. But nevertheless, trust me, when you watch it the first time, you might be confused, but not as confused as watching Magik Rompak. Confused in a sense that you want to, like, just you are literally writing down the notes, and then you being able to, like, understand the story as you watch it, right? And then if you don't understand it the first time, watch it the second time. It's one of those films that, yes, you have to watch it more than once to be able to understand the story fully. Or if you want, just watch some video essays, then that can at least, like, maybe help you get a groove of things of the story itself, maybe perhaps after you watched it. Because who knows, these guys will have, like, some another point that we probably missed out when watching it ourselves itself. So in a way, like, give it a shot. I mean, if you watch like Batman before, Tenet, or like Oppenheimer, or anything from Sir Christopher Nolan himself, this film will probably be up there for you in a way. Yeah, trust me.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, I'm just for sure recommending people to be like open-minded to it. And to be honest with you, there's a ton of people who probably have seen Oppenheimer, and it's probably their first or second Christopher Nolan movie ever. Because of the whole Barbenheimer thing. Everyone who watches Barbie watches Oppenheimer. Everyone who watches Oppenheimer watches Barbie. Whole thing. I feel a ton of people should go and check out The Prestige, because The Prestige is very much what real storytelling is about, and it's fun, but also it's really deep, it's really engaging, and also it shows you the power of non-linear storytelling, and how non-linear storytelling enables you to tell even bigger stories than what linear storytelling would allow for, and how that emotion really seeps in. And I think, on the note where you'd have to watch it more than once, I feel like that depends on the person. Sometimes, like, for filmmakers, 1000% they're going to watch this twice. I don't have to sell that to them. But for the regular person, I feel, try, enjoy it, don't think too much about it, just feel it, have a good time, enjoy it, watch it with someone, and get some popcorn, put some sambal on it. It's actually a weirdly good combination depending on the sambal. Anyway, different food point there. Um, I think The Prestige is one of Christopher Nolan's most underrated work. Nowadays, this is the kind of director people watch. This is the kind of director that has all the power. And Christopher Nolan's films are just so wanted to a point where Oppenheimer obviously won all the awards, but the Odyssey, like studios are basically begging him to spend more money. Can you imagine being begged to spend money, not save money?
Well, there you
So
have it.
yeah, I think that speaks for itself, and I think The Prestige is a great film to check out. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you in the next episode where we tackle something that Lewis has a little bit more experience in and might be able to offer more than a few insights on beyond just the film, but also from a musical perspective. But not to spoil the next episode. And thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next one.